Good afternoon, and don't touch that dial. It's time for Uline's very own version of To Tell the Truth. This episode brought to you by the S6771 Air in a Can. It keeps your electronics clean and feeling refreshed. Only one of our customer service representatives has a story to tell, and that person has sworn to tell the truth. I, the bird, am your host, and with some simple questioning and your help, we'll discover just who is telling the truth. This contestant has had several brushes with celebrities. They had a semester in Rome where the class got to meet the former pope. When this contestant was a teen, he or she got to swim in Terry Bradshaw's swimming pool. And of course, what is life without meeting Chuck Norris? Our contestant had been Chuck Norris's waiter one evening. Starting with contestant 1, how close did you get to the Pope?
You know how people all gather around there and you always walk out on the balcony and everyone was saying, well, he actually came out and mingled with us peasants out there and I just got to shake the Pope's hand.
Contestant 2, same question.
My whole class was part of like a large audience, so there were several different groups from all over the world who came and sat in one auditorium, and the Pope was up at the front, blocked behind security. No way anybody was getting close to the stage at all, and he systematically went around recognizing the different groups that had come and blessing each group individually.
Must be good to be blessed by the Pope. Switching gears, what was it like to meet Terry Bradshaw, contestant 3? Or did you?
No, I didn't meet him. I just swam in his pool. I knew a friend from high school who, I guess, lived near him. They lived in like this really rich neighborhood, so I got to go to like this party there. And honestly, I didn't even know it was his pool until afterwards. I don't know celebrities that well, so found out later, like, you got to go to Terry Bradshaw's place? I'm like, who's that?
What's your story, contestant 1?
Well, I didn't meet him, but I almost saw him. So I was swimming in his pool when I looked up and I could see like in his mansion behind the curtains, I could see the silhouette of him walk by. I was like, whoa, that's Terry Bradshaw. And that's actually one of my closest encounters with a celebrity.
Contestant 2, I would like to know just how you became a waiter for Chuck Norris.
I went to the same school as his grandchildren. Purely by coincidence, I was selected as a junior to be the senior who waited on his granddaughter's table for their senior dinner. And Chuck Norris came, and Outback Steakhouse was catering, and they gave me a steak, and they said, here, take it to that table. And I walk over there, and Chuck Norris is sitting there, and I set the plate down on the table, and he asked me my name, and I was like, I'm Corey, and he's like, well, thanks, Corey. And it was one of the most memorable moments of my life.
I can imagine. Contestant 1, same question.
Well, I worked at a Saltgrass Steakhouse for a few years, and we get a few minor celebrities every now and then, but one day Chuck Norris walked in, and that was a big deal. I'd never seen a celebrity of his stature at that time. So he sat down, and lo and behold, it was at my table. I got to wait on him, and he wasn't very friendly, actually. I tried to tell him like how I'm a huge fan, and I grew up watching with my grandpa Walker, Texas Ranger, and I just wanted him to do a couple of moves or something, and he wasn't having it. He wouldn't even really talk to me. So then he didn't even leave a tip, which was kind of disappointing, but I did get his signed receipt, and I sold it on eBay for about $50, so it all worked out in the end. It's a great experience.
And contestant 3.
I don't know if I'd really call it waiting, since I was about 7 years old. My dad worked on the Walker, Texas Ranger show, was like a stunt coordinator and punching bag, and I got to go on the set just once. We were filming in Fort Worth, and they bring out like huge buffets of food for the actors every day with just tons of stuff, lots of cookies that I would stuff my face with. And I guess my dad, the wise man that he is, thought that I should meet Chuck Norris. So I got to bring him his steak, his little steak that he'd requested to eat. And I was like, here you go. So I got to meet him, and I got to shake his hand, and I think it was probably a lot bigger than mine at that point.
Who had all these brushes with celebrities, including myself? Please stand up.
It actually is me.
Well, I didn't get very close to the Pope, but I did get very close to the Pope mobile. We were crossing the street, and he was coming through in the parade, and we didn't know the parade was coming through. So I I just sort of walked across the street, and then the Pope kind of just nudged me and knocks me off my feet. And he comes out and he picks me up, and I feel his frail hands, and then I feel my cancer go away. I said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I am now." And that was the end.
So did you meet Terry Bradshaw, or did you just swim in his pool?
Well, I didn't get to meet him. I fell into his pool. I was walking by, crossing the street, as I do, and the Pope Mobile, when it came by and hit me, it rocketed me forward into Terry Bradshaw's pool. The real story is, after I escaped from Terry Bradshaw's pool, Chuck Norris actually was the one who saved me. He picked me up out of the pool and put me down and said, "Are you all right?" And I said, "I think I'll be okay." And as his reward for saving me, I gave him a steak that I was keeping in my pocket for later in case I got hungry.